someone was to ask me what we're waiting on, well, shit, I would probably turn to dun, 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 PPI number on Thursday, jobless claims again on Thursday. Remember, last time we had some type of job numbers. Jobs came in at 518,000. We're supposed to come in at 186,000, telling us that the Fed has to be more aggressive and continue to raise rates. Since then, we've heard multiple Fed speakers saying they must continue to raise rates. Right now, the market has 3 more quarter-point rate hikes scheduled for this year and get weaker. So let's just bring up the dark pool levels of the SPY this morning, and we can talk about that and talk about what I expect to happen today. Understanding the SPY is probably pre-market, $410.50. Key level, $410. Next level higher, and I'll speak about the dark pool levels, is about $412. And I think it's, well, let's look at the actual dark pool level. Okay, so we got $412.11. So we are under that right now, but understand that is the largest dark pool level, almost at 23 billion. So we're sitting at 412.11, meaning if 412.11 turns into support, we go to the next level higher. The next level higher, which was 415, has come down a bit. So it's now 414.58. This 412.11 dark pool level used to be 412.50. So that's also come down. So understand, as the dark pool levels come down, as the dark pool levels increase in size, which you can easily see here. Yesterday or 2 days ago when I last pulled this up, we had one level over 22 billion. We had a few levels under 10 billion. Now we're seeing 14, 19, 18. So these are either strong levels of support or will be strong levels of selling. If we sell past a level, you're going to go down to the next level. So let's go over it again. 414.58. Do I think we're going to revisit that level today? No, I do not. I actually think 412.11, which is right here, plus or minus 40 cents, is going to be the high today. So I say, okay, let's add 40 cents to that. Make it nice and easy, a round number. I'm looking for 412.50 to reject today if we get up there, understanding that we're starting right in the level of 410 and change. Understand, if we drop this morning, you're going to look at support at 409.64. 409.64. Now, what we could see is we could easily see a double dip, which means we go to that 409.64. We find a little support, and you're like, okay, it's going to turn around. I can buy my calls, I can enter, and then we could drop to that lower level of 407.17. So an easy way for me to play the market today, I'm telling myself, okay, if we drop at open and we hit one of these levels and see support, then I'm going to start entering into some calls. If we drop and then we spike at open, I'm going to wait for rejection. Same thing that I did yesterday. Again, I bought a few contracts at 412.50, like 3 or 4. And then personally, again, when it went up to 415, I was ready to pounce on that, and I did. As far as what I entered into yesterday with, puts on Uber, puts on AMD, and puts on the SPY. I sold them all within 5 minutes of open because we had a nice significant drop where we could secure profit. I mentioned I was going to re-enter that position as we were approaching 412.50 and then going up to 415. I re-entered 2 of those positions. I re-entered AMD calls, which I was able to secure profit on again. And I was, AMD puts. And then I entered Uber puts. Now, the crazy thing is the market dropped from 415 to 408.50, and Uber actually went up 22 cents. So that told me I was going to have to take a loss. Market dropped 2%. Uber went up less than 1%. But the point was Uber didn't drop 2%. It went up. So there was strong demand there. Again, that's what made me take a loss on my Uber puts. As far as the AMD puts, I entered those, secured profit for the second time. I'm probably going to look at that again today. Now, we can speak about semiconductors really quickly, understanding that, let me just remove this, semiconductors this year, the SOX, the SOX, the semiconductor ETF, is up about 25%, maybe 24% for the year. That is a crazy, crazy gain. What's even more crazy about that is when we look at best in class, which is NVIDIA, symbol NVDA, NVIDIA. It's up over 50% in this year alone. So we're what? 4 or 5 weeks into trading this year, maybe 30-something trading days this year, and NVIDIA is up over 50%. NVIDIA has earnings coming out February 22nd. What could be interesting play or take on earnings? Who cares what earnings are? Let me tell you what's likely to happen. If the market is consolidating where it is, and you're going to see a ton of calls purchased into earnings, pushing the price of the stock up, pushing the IV up. So an earnings play could be buying NVIDIA calls, letting them run a little actually before earnings, and clearing out your position before earnings, securing profit, not actually carrying them over and being risky into earnings. Because I will tell you that, who is it? Warren Buffett, who is in Taiwan Semiconductor, actually emptied out most of his position. Let me see it here. Okay, yeah. Buffett swings trades his Taiwan Semiconductor symbol TSM, right? He bought it in the low 60s. He sold it in the 90s, and he dumped 86% of his stake in that semiconductor. So what does that tell me? It tells me that one could probably short TSM. Why? Because he's got another 13% to dump. I actually think semiconductor industry is going to get hit a little harder. I see a bit of a rotation. Again, when they throw the price targets out there, like they did for NVIDIA 2-3 weeks ago, NVIDIA was trading at 190. Okay, they threw the price targets out at 240, 250. Well, we already saw NVIDIA spike up close to that and then have a pullback to 214 before proceeding north again. So there could be a run up into earnings. Again, my plays for today. Okay, so let's just talk about how we're going to make money, how you're going to make money, how I'm going to make money. I'll tell you exactly how I'm planning to make money today, what my strategy is going to be. I'm only going to trade the SPY. I'm either going to trade SPY puts or calls today. And again, I'm going to go to the dark pool level just to clarify. And if anybody has any questions, please ask them on the side. I'd be more than happy to answer. We can look at chartings. If you're not part of our Discord, there should be a link below. It's www.soc-platform.com. You join, you have all the institutional information, the same thing the institutions look at: dark pool levels, flow, algorithms, net flow, unusual options, golden sweeps, option sweeps in general. So if you don't want to hear my voice, you could join on for, I think it's like $25 a month just to get the institutional flow information. These are the same information that other resources will charge you $100. So anyway, we're like giving you this information at a discount if you like and know how to use the information. It's good to make sure that you're not betting against big money. If a ton of calls are coming in and they're selling the puts, it's telling you the stock is going to go up. If you're like, oh, well, I think the stock went up too much, I'm looking at the chart, it's going to go down, I'm going to buy puts. Not if big money doesn't agree with you. If the flow is telling you it's going one way, the algorithm is telling you it's going one way, the net flow and the flow sum is telling you it's going one way, it's just almost suicidal to make a wager against that. We know I'm a contrarian, which means I like to take the opposite side of most people. However, I follow the big money. Big money is generally correct, I would say like 80% plus of the time. So again, $1 billion worth of SPX calls came in with short-term expiration yesterday, which means they are expecting, they being big money, are expecting a run up in the market. Again, it's tough for me because I'm more of a bear right now. But if I'm going to talk about what I'm looking to trade today, okay, first thing I do is I look pre-market and I say we're at 410.42. Then I say, okay, let me look at the dark pool level. Dark pool level, 409.64 seems to have support. 412.11 will either have support or rejection. So again, I'll add about 50 cents because I don't want to get in too early. Two things I'm known for. I'm known for getting in a trade early, meaning I'm correct about the trade. I'm just early, and being early, I tend not to get the best price on entry. And the second thing is I have paper hands. I'm generally correct about a trade. I just need to learn to hold longer. Okay, so with those two things pushed aside, I already know how to improve my trading. Well, if I'm early, I'm going to tell myself, okay, wait a little longer. Just know the ranges you're looking for. So again, if I'm looking at puts today and I'm saying to myself, okay, the market, we could revisit that 409.64 level, and then we can revisit possibly the 407.70 level, which is underneath that. Yesterday, we hit 408.50 on the downside. So if there is more consolidation, I tell myself 408.50 could be hit today all the way down to 407.70. So that's my exit strategy. If I get involved in puts, I already know I want to exit somewhere between the two lower level ranges, okay? Because I'm thinking, okay, 409.70 could be 410, could be 409.50, and it could bounce higher from there. So I'll scale out half of my position again if I'm in puts, and then I'll ride the other half all the way down to the next level down, again, assuming a bear day. So a bear market day, we see a drop, we see a spike, we're looking for a rejection on the top. When I'm looking for a bear market day, I'm looking for puts, I'm looking for rejection on top. Rejection on the top could be the 409.60 level, but we're starting above that. So I'm saying, okay, well, the market usually likes to get bought up because it's been bought up every day, but 3 trading days this year, we've seen the market actually fade. Only 3 trading days this year. Most of the time, the dips get bought up. If you look at yesterday, I would say the dip got bought up again. So yesterday, we started up here, dropped down, and the dip got bought up before the end of the day sell off. I believe like an hour prior to close, we were at 413 and change. Understanding we were at 408.50 on the low. So if you go from 408.50 to 413 and change, you're talking about over a 1% move upward. So yes, dips continue to get bought, even if it's consolidation. So with that strategy in mind, I could say, okay, if I want to take the opposite position and be a bull for the day, then I'm going to look for it to touch one of the bottom levels and show support. So again, I'll go to Discord. So I have my 2 scenarios. My bear scenario is I'm looking for puts once I see rejection, hopefully around the 412.11 range, 412.50, something to that extent. If the market dips first and then gets bought up, I would be looking for calls right around what? I don't think we're going to drop to 407.17 if it's going to be a bull day. So if it's going to be a bull day, I'm looking at the 409.64. So 409.64, I say to myself, plus or minus 40 cents. So if we get a drop at open, we're starting at 410.50. We get a drop, there's a little bounce, we get a further drop. If I see volume and support right at the 409, anywhere from 409.40 to 409.50 to 409.70, if I'm seeing support, and most importantly, I'm seeing volume, because sometimes you can get support on very little volume and you just know it's going to sell off further. So again, if I'm looking at a bull case scenario today and a bullish strategy, then I'm looking for the market to pop, to drop, to find support off good volume. Find support off good volume, SPY calls. SPY calls, again, every time I go out 3 days to make sure I give myself enough time to be correct, I don't need to because I'm correct. It's the days that I play the 0 days till expiration options where I'm like, all right, I'll take the option that expires today. It's crazy how it works out because those days I'm like, okay, the market's not doing what I said. My options expires today. What the hell do I do? So again, to be safe, whether I like it or not, I'm going to go out 3 days. The fact that today is Wednesday, I'm going to say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday's expiration, end of the week. If I look at the number of calls versus the number of puts that are expiring this week, it's extremely, extremely call heavy. So again, if I want to follow the mentality that's been going on, let's just say 26 out of 29 trading days this year, or maybe 24 out of 27 trading days, it's a buy the dip mentality. Even yesterday, where we have that significant drop from 415 all the way to 408.50, it was still a buy the dip. We bounced really quickly back to the 410 level. And when 410 found support, we were back at 412 within a blink of an eye. All right. So understand, the trading day is a long day. Just because you're right or wrong between, let's say, 9:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. does not mean you're incorrect on the day. You just were early. You need to give yourself enough time to be correct. Okay, so let's just see what kind of questions we have today. Let me go to the top. Yeah, please, if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. Not enough people that you watch it say, okay, I like it. You just have to hit the button. Join me tomorrow. Okay, specific calls. Here we go. Here's a specific question. Thoughts on SQQQ calls February 24th, strike 36.37. Okay, so first, if everybody's to understand what that ETF is, all right, if you're bullish on technology, you're going to buy TQQQ, okay? That's like the triple bull version of the Qs, okay? TQQ. SQQQ means you expect the QQQ to go down. You expect technology to go down. So here are some catches on SQQQ. So SQQQ calls, you think technology is going to go down. Your calls on shorting the Qs will go up. Great strategy. Now, here's what things I'm looking for. First of all, I pick out a couple of key trackers that are going to tell me how technology is going to do. So first, I pick out Apple, and let me look at Apple because you want to make sure you're in a decent trade or you're thinking about a possibly good trade. If Apple's extremely strong, then you say, holy shit, you know what? Apple controls technology, blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking, there was a bit of a sell-off. I do think Apple will go down back to the 149 and change level. Volume was kind of light yesterday. So yeah, I mean, that strategy works. The thing I don't like is Tesla has just had a shit ton of buying for the past 2 days. It's pushing what would be its 1 month high. It's up 70% in the last 1 month. If you go back 3 months, it's only up 6.7%. So again, Tesla to me is kind of peaking out. Again, if Tesla drops, Apple drops, Microsoft drops, these all look like they're peaking, or they can explode higher, and all we're seeing is consolidation. So Ron XRP, I'm going to suggest, first off, be cautious. Set yourself a stop loss. If you get in at the right entry, okay, understand what we spoke about growing a small account. Let's say you have $1,000. You want to invest 10%. So the first contract you want to buy is maybe $40. If it goes down, maybe you'll buy 2 more contracts. That way you can average down. You don't want to go 2 feet forward right away and jump right in. So understand how you're going to position yourself into this play. If you're buying SQQQ calls and you believe you're going to be right, then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to buy 1 on entry, and you're going to pick the right level. So again, the right level out of the chute is not to go in as soon as the market opens at 9:30. You're saying to yourself, well, if I want the Qs to go down, then I want the SPY to go down. I want the whole market to go down. So what would I look for? Well, first, I'm looking at the market, and I'm saying 412.11 would reject, because if we get a little bounce in the morning, that might be a good entry, but I might go all the way up for 412.50. So when I see the SPY rejecting, then I say to myself, okay, the Qs will likely reject as well. So I'm going to go check out the Qs. I'm going to check out Microsoft, Apple. I'm going to check out Google and Amazon and make sure they show that they're somewhat rejecting, because if 1 or 2 of them are breaking up north, then it's just a quick stutter in the market, and then tech will go higher. So again, you want to make sure your position is correct. As far as Ron, if you wanted to use our Discord, I'll tell you what I would do. Let me just add it. I'll show you, give you an example. Okay, rather than look at the SQQQs, I'm going to look at just the Qs. TR, let's do net flow, and we'll look at the Qs. And then I'll type in TR. I'll look at the algo flow, and again, the Qs. And I'll share with you what I'm seeing here. So let's just pull that up. Let's go to the net flow first. Okay, the net flow. What am I seeing? Well, good news for those that want the Qs to go down or your SQQQ position to go higher. The cost for the premium of puts actually increased nicely. It's coming up to the price here. Unfortunately, the cost for the call premiums actually increased as well. But if you see them cross over, if you see the puts go up to here, 10, 12, you see the calls come down to 12 or 10, that would be a very strong signal that is bearish. So it would tell me that your SQQQ calls, which are bearish 3 times the Qs, likely go higher. So yeah, I mean, I kind of like your position. Let's go back to Discord. Let's just see what the other chart is telling us. Go down. Okay, so now we're looking at the flow, the algo flow. Now the algo flow is almost like you use the algorithms, specific algorithms, to tell you the likelihood the stock price should be up here or down here. And then you actually have the stock price. So at some point they're going to intersect. Okay, they intersected here. And then you saw what? The price probably came up here while the algos was down here. They intersected again before the algo price went up here. They intersected again. So what do they like to do? They like to intersect. Okay, well, if you have one key number, which is down at the 304 level, and one key number that's up here between 306 and 307, I would tell you that they're likely to intersect. And they're probably likely to intersect closer to the downside, to the 304 level. So again, if the Qs were to drop down, that would be positive for your SQQQ calls. So yes, I actually like your suggested position. Again, understanding that I'm a bear in the market. If the market is just consolidating and rips higher, as soon as it breaks through some of these levels and you know it's going to the next level higher, you want to get out of your position. You want to either secure profit or limit your loss on that trade. All right, so let's just keep going. Let's see what else I got here. Ryan, morning. Another events today that may determine market direction. Events that are coming out. Again, Mention them when we started the stream, but I'll mention them again. You've got PPI tomorrow. Other than the PPI number, let's see. We had retail sales come out this morning. They either dropped at 8:30 or they drop a little after 10. I don't know why, because I'm on the live stream. You have jobless claims tomorrow, and then you still have over 10% of S&P companies reporting earnings this week. Last week we had about 17%. This week about 10%. We'll have some more next week. Our retail sales correct today. Again, haven't heard the number. Wouldn't surprise me. Retail sales out 3 times above consensus. Not sure if that data matters anymore. It matters, but what does it tell you? Well, we've been talking for a number of days how retail, people that go out, the consumers, are spending a ridiculous amount on credit cards. Credit card debt is amounted past $960 billion if you add up all of the credit card debt. These buy now, pay later sites are going to struggle. Why? Because people will default on their payments. There's going to be a ton of defaulting this year. There's going to be a ton of evictions this year. I believe rent pricing will go down towards the end of the year, which will help out inflation, but it's counterproductive because that means more people are struggling in the retail, environment. Okay, let's see what else we got. A little late, but now they never hit that like. Did I miss the levels for the SPY today? Yes, you did. So we'll just talk about it real quick again. Let me just go back to Discord. I'm just going to talk about the dark pool levels for the SPY right there. Let's bring it up. And again, my trading strategy today, I have 2 trading strategies. So number 1, I'm looking at the largest dark pool level, which is 412.11. The fact that we're sitting at 411.58 pre-market, obviously we've rebounded a little in the last 15 minutes since I've come on live. But I'm going to say, okay, number 1, I'm thinking the same thoughts as yesterday. My thoughts yesterday was we should reject 412.50. If we don't reject 412.50, we're going to reject 415. Same as yesterday. Entered into some puts at 412.50. As we went up to 415, boom, I nailed it. I entered a more serious play in puts when we saw that drop, secured profit, okay? As far as the other scenario is there's only been 3 or 4 trading days the entire year that the market has not bought the dip. So we're going to see a little fluctuation at first, and then I'm going to look at what possibly support levels could be. You've got 18 billion, 19.59 billion. Remember, you can go plus or minus 30 cents. So I'm going to say, okay, right around 410 could be major support. 410 yesterday was major support. 410 2 days ago was major support. If we were to drop, you're looking at 409.64. So again, I'm going to look for support here. If we break through this level to the downside, you will see 407.17. I don't think the market's going to throw up on itself. Nothing tells me that the level of calls going out to next week. So I'm still assuming that everybody's going to buy the dip in the market because that's what we've seen. So likely that's my trading strategy to enter the day. I'm going to buy the dip on the SPY when I see it, find support, but it must have volume. Now, let's say I miss my trade. Let's say I put in an entry and I say the options I want to buy are $120 and I offer $105 and it ticks down and hits 108, never hits 105. I miss it and the market shoots up. Let's say I miss my opening trade. What am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to chase. I'm going to key and pay specific attention to the levels. And if I see it reject anywhere around 412.11 to 412.50, then I'm going to tell myself, okay, I can get into puts to go out throughout the end of the day and that we're going to fade later in the afternoon. If we break through that level, and again, I'm not going to chase. I'm going to say I expect to see the same thing that we saw yesterday, which was major rejection right at the 415 level. So that's how I'm planning to play the market. I appreciate everybody staying with me this morning. Again, if you like what I say, thumbs up. If you have questions, ask on the side. Other than that, please join me tomorrow morning for PPI. I expect a greater amount of volume to be traded tomorrow rather than today. Today should be a little light so we can see some pretty quick movements either to the upside or downside. That is why entry is going to be so important. And again, secure profit, because if you're in and you get that spike, which is the direction you're looking for, sell, take profit, wait, re-enter, or just call yourself a winner and move on to your next trade. Thanks so much for joining me again. Please follow me over to Discord.